Here we go, team. Diabetes, guys. We are continuing the discussion, guys. This is my Say It Sunday number 40. I've got to bang out 50 of these babies before Christmas time. Super pumped. All right, guys. So this week we are talking about type 1 diabetes. Now, the last 2 weeks, guys, I've been giving you a lot of information. Hopefully, I've simplified it enough for you to understand more about type 2 diabetes and how you can minimize your risk. Okay, it's about minimizing. There is no perfect diet or lifestyle out there that can 100% guarantee you won't get it, but if you do all the right things, guys, you will most definitely minimize your chances of contracting or getting any of these lifestyle diseases. So remember, genetics load the gun, your lifestyle pulls the trigger. Okay, type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes, guys, is an autoimmune disease, which is very different to a lifestyle disease such as type 2 diabetes. Now, autoimmune disease, okay, there are currently over 80 different autoimmune diseases that are affecting people worldwide. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about more of that in a moment, but in simple terms, an autoimmune disease is a condition when your body believes healthy cells are foreign and the body releases proteins to attack. So essentially the body doesn't recognize these healthy cells as being healthy, therefore it sends out an attack. Your immune system sends out an attack response, and in this case with the type 2 diabetes, it attacks the little pancreas, okay, the pancreas that releases the insulin. Now this is pretty scary, guys, okay? So let's have a think about, okay, now, go back 10, 20, even 50 years, guys. Now, there was most definitely not 80 or over 80 different autoimmune diseases. So we need to have a little bit of think about what impact our lifestyle is having, okay, to a degree. Now, there are so many out there. The most common ones in the autoimmune is rheumatoid arthritis and type 1 diabetes. Okay, so if you think about all the different chemicals that we're exposed to, the processed foods, the tobacco, the drugs, the alcohol, the air, the fuel, look, all these things, guys, do contribute, okay, and are having an effect on us in some way. This is why it's about being consciously aware of improving your health and your lifestyle to minimize your chance of getting any of these types of diseases, okay, moving forward. Now, remember, guys, the pancreas is that little gland or organ that sits under the gallbladder around near the stomach area. Now, it releases the insulin. Okay, remember, insulin is the taxi for the glucose. Okay, so when the body turns the carbohydrate into glucose, insulin comes and grabs it, transports it to the cells to be used as energy. But in a type 1 diabetes case, the insulin, okay, the insulin stops. So type 1 diabetes means that your pancreas does not produce any insulin at all, okay? Therefore, the gland or the organ is essentially, it's dead or it's not functional at all, okay? So what happens, so I've listed here, guys, so what happens in this type 1 diabetes case, so I can kind of paint a bit of a picture for this Say It Sunday number 40, just around laying down the foundation of type 1. So what happens is your body cannot transport or move glucose to the cells. Okay, so you just have this continual flow of sugar floating around your body, guys, which is very dangerous. Body burns its own fat. Okay, so your body will start burning its own body fat. Okay, but in this process, it releases chemicals into the blood, and this is called ketoacidosis. Now, I've underlined that word keto because you know my strong opinion on the keto world, the diet, okay, is actually keto diets were designed for sick children with epilepsy, okay, but here it is in the mainstream world being used for everyone. So understanding though, it's a fat burning process, okay, it's a starvation survival process mechanism within the body. So if we don't have any insulin happening, okay, what happens there is we have all this sugar floating around in the body starts burning fat, okay, then the chemicals are released. Now these become life-threatening, okay. So the only way you can manage these, guys, is by daily insulin injections, okay, and daily blood glucose tests, understanding where your blood sugar tests or where your blood sugar should sit based on last week's episode where I told you all those numbers when you are looking at getting your HbA1c test done. Okay. All right, so just a quick recap. Type 1 diabetes is autoimmune disease. Okay. Next week I'm going to talk about impacts, symptoms and things like that, so give you a bit more information around that. So remember, it's a condition where the body attacks healthy cells, the healthy cells being the pancreas. Okay. Now there's over 80 autoimmune diseases right now that we can actually diagnose. Type 1 diabetes, when the pancreas cannot produce insulin, so the pancreas essentially is broken. Okay, it stops. Then what happens? The transport of glucose stops. The body starts burning its own body fat. This is called ketoacidosis. It becomes life-threatening. The only way to manage this is by daily injections and then testing your blood glucose on a regular basis. Understanding you need to be so in tune with your body, guys, in a type 1 diabetes situation. I'm just going to flip this board. I'm going to paint the picture just a little bit better here, guys. So this raises a question, okay? The question being, can type 2 diabetes turn into type 1 diabetes? When I think about it, I think, well, okay, so the pancreas stops working. If you're a type 2 diabetic and you're eating a very poor diet and your body is always breaking down processed sugars and all these unhealthy foods, so the pancreas is always releasing the insulin, okay, then after a while he just sort of packs in, all right? So essentially I sort of believe from the research I've been doing and the doctors I've been listening to with all updated research showing that there is a possibility that a type 2 diabetic could shift over to becoming a type 1 diabetic, because if your pancreas craps itself and stops working, okay, essentially you're going to be moving into that type 1, okay? It didn't actually happen through that autoimmune disease effect. You were responsible. You were the one that broke your own pancreas, okay? So take some responsibility, guys. Clean up your diet and eat better. Let's live healthier, happier, stronger, longer. Remember, glucose molecules. Pancreas releases insulin. Insulin grabs the glucose. Glucose gets traveled around in the insulin taxi to our blood vessels. Quick recap, all that blue junk in there, okay, that's a blood vessel, and all that blue junk, that's all the build-up, okay, from saturated fats, from high-fat diets such as keto diets, things like that, okay. You won't feel these effects, okay, early. You continue on a high-fat diet for most of your life and you are guaranteed to have heart disease, okay. No word of a lie, all right. And then when you stop consuming all these large amounts of fat and then you go back to consuming carbohydrate, when the pancreas, if it still works, has enough insulin to move the sugar around, can't get through the cell walls, okay, then all of a sudden you create insulin resistance. As you can see, guys, it's just turmoil, okay? Now, type 2 diabetes is linked to Alzheimer's, it's linked to dementia, it's linked to cardiovascular disease. So let's just take a little bit more care, a little bit of responsibility, guys. Stay lean, eat clean, be mean, okay? Thank you for supporting. Subscribe to my channel, share, like. Let's get more informative. Let's understand more about us, these lifestyle diseases, these chronic diseases, autoimmune diseases. Thanks again, guys.